Hello and welcome, and in today's video I'm going to be showing with you the top 10 best Ark Battle Tames. So without further ado, let's just get straight into it. Now in at number 10 I want to put the Mantis, as it's such a versatile creature and fighting is one of the things which it actually isn't too bad at, and obviously I am putting it in the best Ark Battle Tame because I really like fighting with this creature. It is actually fun rather than just clicking and spamming a button. You might think about strategy a little bit more, although you still get a lot. That is Ark after all. That is where most of the combat comes from. You just sit there and click. But a creature like this, you can customize the attack weapon that you're using. You could use pikes, you could use swords. It depends on the situation, so you can really optimize this creature to the creatures that you're fighting, which is why I find this to be such a great battle creature, because of that versatility and the option that it gives you to be able to customize your weaponry based on the battle which you intend to fight. And you can still do bosses with these things as well, although maybe not the most popular choice. Rampy did do the Manticore and Scorched Earth with just Mantises. It definitely is possible, and I've done quite a few bosses. I've done all the island bosses with the Mantis before, so pretty much all of those ones will be passable, no problem. Even the dragon is fine. So if you haven't, give these things a go. If you don't like them, you can always move on to the next list, the next creature on the list, sorry. Coming up next, I've decided to put the Bionics. This is a great caving battle creature, and again, it's sort of the perfect size for me as well. While no bleed ability or anything of the sort will be inflicted with a creature like this, it still has decent mobility and versatility. You can also stun creatures up to the size of a megalodon underwater, so the combat options are definitely still there for you, and it is a very viable option in my opinion. I thoroughly do enjoy using this creature. It is one which, you know, I will still continue to use a lot more of in the future, and I've used it tons in the past, and it has never let me down. Their health is decent enough that they will stack up in pretty much any fight. You can even destroy Gigas with these things with absolute ease. At least I've been able to. Crocodilosauruses, you name it. Maybe don't do the extinction bosses with these things, but you can do a fair few bosses with the Bionics as well. Again, not the most popular choice, but still, for general combat around the map, the Bionics is going to be quite a good creature, and I think you should test it out sometime. You might be decently surprised if you already don't love these things anyway. The Spino is seemingly a creature which sort of seems to be forgotten about when it comes to battling Ark creatures, as the Rex does overshadow it. That creature is later on the list, by the way, because I think it definitely does deserve a spot here because of what it's done for the Ark battling. Just in generally, you can generally, I mean, the Rex has done a lot for us, and it definitely does deserve to be here, but so does the Spino. I'm putting it further back because less people do use it, but it has just an insane amount more mobility than a creature like the Rex, and it still does really pack a punch in damage. Its damage is actually generally higher than the Rex's, but its health isn't quite as good. But still, with higher damage, you can still get through those boss fights just even faster, and the lower health doesn't matter quite as much. For some of the more staged boss fights, you'll struggle a little bit more. But there is obviously all the X-Spino stuff on Genesis Part 1 as well, so if you ever did want any of those, then you can still get them with absolute ease. You shouldn't have too much difficulty with it. The Spino also, when it goes onto its hind legs, is really just even better at combat, and when it's on all fours, it can rampage through the map. It's got quite a lot of speed to it. This thing also can swim with great decency, and also on top of all of that, it does have the hydration buff too, which means it deals even more damage when, you know, you're in the water. It is a really great tame, and I think everyone should be using this thing more for their combat because it really is underrated in some way. In number 7, we have got the Desmodus. Come on, a creature like this really is peak when it comes to battling. You can pick players off mounts with absolute ease with a creature like this too, which just even further boosts this thing's ability in terms of its general combat. It is truly a fantastic one. It has a decent speed too, and you can farm blood bags with this thing, and the sanguine elixir gained from the combat from the blood bag farming is an absolute cheat for tames. 30% of it done like that. Just chuck it in the creature that you tame's inventory as long as it's a knockout one. then press that E button or whatever your use button is in your equivalent term. I guess obviously I'm a PC player, so it's going to be E for me. But yeah, once you've done that, it's mind-blowing still to me. Like, the tames go so much faster, and that is also why I put this creature on the list, because I think it really deserves, a spot in this list for just how good Sanguine Elixir is, and obviously all of that's going from combat, and it's a great PvP mount as well. Next up, we have got the Griffin. In my opinion, I feel it is necessary to put this creature on the list, because the Griffin's dive bomb ability is great for combat, and also you can equip your weapons on the back of this creature as well, which can't be said about most flyers. A lot of people did want that from creatures like the RG, but the creature such as the Griffin, of course, is the way to go for you, because obviously that just allows you to tame some other creatures more easily, because knocking out Quetzal on this thing is actually really easy. But also just for general combat as well. But on top of that, the dive bomb ability is just going to be even better on a creature like this, because the dive bomb ability, it just goes so quickly, it's so great for travel, and then also on top of all of that, it does a lot of damage too. If you're looking into wyverns as well, it would be great if you have one of these creatures, as you can go into that wyvern trench with absolute ease and get out with no issues whatsoever. This Bronto does get absolutely demolished by this Griffin, not just from its bites, but obviously from that dive bomb ability. I can't even remember if I hit it in this case. Let's hope I do, because it'd be a little bit embarrassing if I just left a miss there in the B-roll. I think I dive bomb it and then I kill it. I'm confident. There's the Bronto, there's the Griffin. Damage was dealt, but I just finished it off with a bite. Either way, that's going to do a heck of a lot of damage. Love the Griffin. In number 5, we've got the Giga and the Carcharodontosaurus, and I think, they do deserve to make the list. They are big, beefy carnivores that are capable of dealing quite a lot of damage, and you kind of do have to put them there for the best battle mounts out there, because, come on, I think they are very deserving of it in some way. These creatures are peak when it comes to all of that. I really do enjoy what these creatures offer in terms of combat. It offers a sort of new dimension to it, because although you can't really take these things into boss fights and things of the sort, these creatures are still great for dealing tons of damage to creatures in the general world, and it makes your life there a lot easier. Also, the rage meter on the Giga is quite cool as well, and you can always name it Tiny Tim or something stupid like that, so you can always have some fun laughs along the way. In number 4, we have got the UT. This creature is just so important for me in general terms, because this creature obviously adds the buffs in a given fighting scenario. With obviously the courage roar, you can make your creatures take even less damage and deal more on top of it, and doesn't that sound like a great thing? The fear roar can also ward off smaller enemies if that's something which you may be needing, and this creature's been around since 2017, ever since AB released, and I think it still definitely does deserve to be in the game, and it stands as a combat creature. It is truly one which, I'm so glad Wildcard added, and it's sort of like life before the UT was, I can't really recall back before that, because it seems like, oh, you must have the UT. It's sort of, it is by choice, but it's like, it's sort of a need now. Whereas before the UT, you would just go with your Rexes and whatnot, but everything was more just kind of Hail Mary back then, I guess you could say. In number 3, we have got the Rex, and in my opinion, this creature definitely does deserve to be here for everything that it's done as a combat creature. It is deserving of the list because it has done just a lot. The Rex has always been there for us. It's got a great health stat and deals quite a healthy amount of damage, so it really is deserving of the list in my opinion, and it's a ridiculously easy tame. Even on ASC, we still have to knock it out rather than just taming it from a baby stage. The Rex really isn't the fastest or most mobile of mounts, but it definitely does do well in the damage department. If something's in front of it, then it's probably going to be dead. If it's behind it, then maybe it might be a little bit more of an issue, because again, the tiny circle is rubbish. You can't turn on the spot like you can with the Spino, which is one of the main advantages to a creature like that, but still, it does a heck of a lot of damage and also has quite a nice health stat on top of all of it to wrap it over, and I think it works really effectively in the given combat scene. You can't really go wrong with a creature like the Rex, and obviously you do have the X Rexes on Genesis Part 1 as well, so you've got even more options available to you if you feel like maybe the basic Rex isn't quite good enough for you. And at number 2, I've decided to put the Shadowbane, and also I'll give a brief honourable mention to the Thyla, because that is another great battle creature, but I think the Shadowbane is the way to go here. It has the hydration buff, and also it can charge its damage up and absolutely tear creatures to shreds. It is insanely mobile and can jump to great heights with ease. You should have no real issue with great fighting combat with a creature like the Shadowbane. It is a great battling creature after all. The only real difficulty is the taming method, as it can be a pain at the best of times. But once you've got a nice high level breeding pair, then you should be fine, and you'll have no real issues going forward, as you'll never need to use that tame method again. You can just simply breed your Shadowbanes together and then boom, get your crazy color mutations or whatever, and continue and have even greater Shadowbanes. Again, if I haven't said already, they've got the hydration buff, same as the Spino, and it means when they're in water or in contact with water within 30 seconds, they are going to be dealing a lot more damage, and you know, it's very nice to have it. And in number 1, of course, we have to put the Deinonychus here. This creature has the bleed ability for a start, which little creatures on this list actually do have, but of course the creature in the number 1 spot does have to have it. It's also the perfect size carnivore for me. Like, it's not too big where it's sort of a bit of a pain to get around, and it's not too small where obviously you can't even ride it. Of course, it can grapple on to creatures and just absolutely rip them to shreds. The larger creatures will stand no chance, and it even deals bleed to bosses as well, which is just truly insane, and I am really loving what you can get with the Deinonychus, and I always have ever since these things have released, and they're not really difficult to tame in my opinion whatsoever. Finding the eggs and stealing them in Crystal Isles and raising them really is not a challenge. Maybe it's not the most timely taming method, but still it really isn't one which you should be worried about in terms of difficulty. They don't take any full damage, they are insanely quick, they have the pack buff on top of that too if you've got 3 of them, same as a creature like the Aloe for example. Another great honourable mention for the list, although it's not making it today. And they can obviously climb any kind of wall or vertical surface, because they can just like parkour and grapple and jump from wall to wall. You'll have no real difficulty. You're essentially the Mario, if you will, of the Ark world. I really do love the Deinonychus. I can't get enough of it in a way. I do keep talking about it, but in my opinion, it is the best Ark battle tame. But anyway, that is the end of today's video. I really hope that you all did enjoy, as I definitely did enjoy making this one. Comment down below what is the best battle tame to you. And if you didn't agree with my list, then always put your 10 in the comments below, as I want to hear your thoughts. And I'll see you all later.